This file was not meant to remain open, and yet it found you. You are now entering a recorded field transmission from the Department of Lost Places. This is archive entry 004. The subject of this record is known as the Orchard of Forgotten Afternoons. Among all locations presently held within department archives, few are more difficult to explain. Not because the orchard is dangerous, not because it is hidden, but because visitors often struggle to understand what they have encountered. Many leave believing nothing remarkable happened at all. Only later do they realize that they have been thinking about the orchard for years. The location first entered department records through a series of unrelated reports spanning nearly 4 decades. Witnesses described an orchard appearing unexpectedly along familiar routes, a narrow path behind a village, a trail through woodland, a quiet road beside open fields. The circumstances varied, yet one detail remained consistent. Each visitor arrived during an ordinary afternoon. Not an important afternoon, not a memorable one, not a day associated with major events, simply an afternoon, the sort of day that rarely survives in memory. The department became interested immediately. Most documented locations announced themselves in some fashion: a strange atmosphere, an impossible structure, an obvious anomaly. The orchard does none of these things. In fact, its most unusual characteristic may be how ordinary it appears. Rows of fruit trees stretch gently across rolling ground. The grass remains neatly maintained. A warm breeze moves through the branches. Birdsong drifts overhead. Sunlight filters between leaves. Everything feels entirely natural, entirely familiar, entirely unremarkable. And yet visitors seldom leave. Not quickly. Not because they cannot, because they find themselves lingering. The orchard possesses a curious resistance to urgency. People arrive intending to stay only a moment, then discover an hour has passed, then another. Not through confusion, not through enchantment, through comfort. Surveyor Elias Hart recorded one of the earliest department observations. He entered the orchard shortly after midday. According to his notes, he spent the afternoon walking amongst the trees, occasionally sitting beneath them to rest. Nothing unusual occurred. No strange figures appeared. No mysterious voices spoke. No impossible architecture revealed itself. When he eventually departed, he filed a report consisting of only 4 words. I miss it already. At the time, department analysts considered the report incomplete. Years later, it regarded as one of the most accurate descriptions ever submitted. The trees themselves appear ordinary. Apple trees are most commonly reported, though pears, plums, cherries, and varieties unknown to modern botany have also been documented. Fruit remains abundant throughout the orchard. Visitors may eat freely. No adverse effects have ever been observed. Interestingly, no visitor can clearly recall the taste afterward, only the feeling associated with it. Warmth, contentment, ease. A sense that nowhere else was required. The department currently believes this phenomenon is significant. The orchard appears less concerned with preserving events than preserving emotional atmosphere. A recurring feature within witness accounts involves scattered benches positioned throughout the grounds. Each bench overlooks a slightly different view: a hillside, a distant field, a cluster of trees, a narrow stream. Visitors frequently choose one without conscious deliberation. They remain seated far longer than intended. Several surveyors describe experiencing brief recollections whilst resting, not major memories, not life-changing moments, something smaller: a forgotten bicycle ride, the sound of insects on a summer day, a cloud formation observed from a garden wall, the feeling of grass beneath bare feet, a book read beneath a tree, the smell of laundry drying and sunlight. Such memories often arrive unexpectedly, without narrative, without explanation, without emotional force, and yet many visitors report becoming deeply moved by them. Department researchers have proposed a simple theory. Perhaps the orchid specializes in moments too small to survive elsewhere. Human memory naturally preserves milestones: birthdays, achievements, departures, celebrations, losses. But ordinary afternoons often disappear entirely, not because they lacked value, because nothing demanded their preservation. The orchard may function as a repository for these neglected fragments. One particularly fascinating feature is known among surveyors as the long shade path. The path appears only during certain visits. Descriptions remain remarkably consistent: a narrow trail extending between rows of trees. Shadows stretch across the grass despite the apparent position of the sun. The air grows quieter, softer, more reflective. Those who follow the path often encounter what department records describe as afternoon echoes. An afternoon echo is not a ghost, nor a memory. It is something more subtle, a glimpse of a moment that almost vanished entirely. Visitors might see a child running through long grass, a grandparent resting beneath a tree, friends sharing a conversation on a distant summer day, a figure reading quietly beside a river. The scenes are brief, silent, and strangely incomplete, like fragments rescued from the edge of forgetting. No observer has ever recognized the individuals involved, yet many experience a profound sense of familiarity, as though witnessing moments belonging to everyone and no one simultaneously. At the centre of the orchard stands a single enormous tree. The department refers to it as the keeper tree, not because of any verified function, simply because no better name has been found. The tree is significantly older than the surrounding orchard. Its branches extend across an astonishing distance. Its trunk appears shaped by centuries of weather. Visitors often gather beneath its canopy. Many reports indicate an unusual sensation while standing there: the feeling that time had slowed sufficiently for unnoticed details to become visible. Wind through leaves, distant birds, the movement of clouds, the shifting quality of sunlight, small things, things usually overlooked. One surveyor wrote, "The tree did not show me anything new. It showed me things I had stopped noticing." The department continues to regard this statement as important. Beneath the keeper tree rests a simple wooden sign. Unlike many features within lost places, the sign contains no mystery, no hidden language, no coded message, only a single sentence: "Nothing important happened here." Visitors frequently laugh upon reading it. They become unexpectedly thoughtful, because the longer one remains in the orchard, the less true the statement appears. Nothing important happened, and yet everything happened. Conversations, sunlight, rest, presence, life itself unfolding without announcement. Some surveyors have suggested a possible connection between the orchard and another archived location, the House of Unfinished Summers. Specifically, the orchard visible beyond the veranda described in archive entry 002. No evidence currently supports this theory, yet similarities have been noted. The department remains open to further investigation. Departure from the orchard occurs gradually. Unlike other documented locations, there is no clear threshold, no gate, no station, no train. Visitors simply continue walking, and eventually discover the orchard has become an ordinary field. The trees are gone, the path has vanished. Only the memory remains, though even that memory often fades quickly, until years later, perhaps during a quiet afternoon, perhaps while sitting beneath a tree, perhaps while watching sunlight move across a room. A feeling returns, a certainty that somewhere beyond the reach of ordinary maps the orchard still exists, preserving afternoons nobody realized were worth keeping. The department classifies the Orchard of Forgotten Afternoons as type, memory preservation site, atmospheric archive, temporal ecology zone, access level occasional, most frequently encountered during periods of unstructured wandering. Final note from the archivist. History remembers great events. Maps remember great journeys. But a life is not built entirely from great things. Sometimes its foundations are quieter. An afternoon with nowhere to be. A conversation without urgency. A patch of sunlight beneath a tree. The orchard appears dedicated to preserving such moments, not because they were extraordinary, but because they happened, and because, in ways we rarely notice, they mattered. This concludes archive entry 004. The record is sealed. The benches remain occupied. The afternoon continues. End transmission.